Sup, YouTube? Want to talk to you about this new online content theft uh, framework that's come out recently between where basically every single major ISP in the country and the entire music, film, and TV industries have jointly created this new framework by which they're going to have some sort of control over content infringement on the internet. Uh, it's a very suspicious agreement, for the most part, because we couldn't even get the ISPs to agree on a net neutrality framework in the in the FCC. That famously ended with Google pretty much letting Verizon write their policy statements, and everyone else just pulling out of the talks with no actual deal made. It's a very scary deal because, well, basically it means they're going to start policing your activity. So basically, I'll give you some interesting information. Originally, in 2001 or 2002, after suing Napster, and the music industry realized, well, that wasn't a very good idea because now everyone's just running their own open NAP servers. Their next step was to start actually patrolling the peer-to-peer networks, at the time mostly GNU-Tella, looking for users, getting their IP addresses, and creating a John Doe suit, and then subpoenaing the ISPs for IP addresses. Now, the judges did not take kindly to that, mostly because ISPs don't keep good records on IP records, the way the IPs get mapped to individuals, because in many cases IPs get moved around because they get moved to a different dynamic pool. They're not usually statically assigned, and they do change, and ISPs don't take very good records of that. This famously resulted in the RIAA demanding payment from a grandma who did not even know how to use the internet, and actually shut down her service, and they were basically calling her a liar and a thief, and demanding that she pay thousands and thousands of dollars for music she probably doesn't even listen to. This is essentially something much worse than that, because it's ISP agreed, which means you're not going to have judges throwing out large sums of spam litigation on the basis of that they don't want their dockets being filled up by an aggressive party who's abusing the justice system for their own ends. Now we have a system where there's going to be 6 progressively worse mitigation measures that they will use on anyone who is suspected of copyright infringement. Basically, the press release. I have the press release on this computer that's acting slow right now because I'm running a Namecoin miner very slowly. Basically, they have this new copyright alert system based on a consumer's, quote, right to know. Again, we're running into Orwellian language here. They're saying this is based on a consumer's right to know when his or her internet account may have been used improperly to download copyrighted content. And now, here's the best sentence in the whole thing, right off the bat. Often, subscribers, particularly parents or caregivers, are not aware that their internet accounts are being used for online content theft. That is a horribly naive and paternalistic view of what actually happens. And I honestly would like to publicly, how would you put this? Would honestly like to publicly insult these people for being that stupid. often subscribers may be unaware that blah 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 blah. It's illegal. Blah blah blah. It could violate terms of service, public policies. Data suggests that once informed about the alleged content theft and its possible consequences, most internet subscribers will quickly take steps to ensure the theft doesn't happen again. It goes up to early alerts up to 6, mitigation measures, which include slowing the internet down. Now, that's a hint right here. It's really about slowing people's internet down. The ISPs have not been very receptive to spam litigation and subpoenas, but they are in the middle of a huge bandwidth crisis because they want to oversell everyone on quote-unquote fast internet, which is really, they expect you to not use it like fast internet. They expect you to use it like the same way you were using your dial-up connection. Just faster. Give us money. Don't actually use the connection, because if you do, then the whole system breaks. And that's true, because sometimes I have Cablevision. Sometimes it's not even usable. We have a Netflix box. Sometimes that isn't usable for the same reason, because it's a shared medium and there's not enough bandwidth in the pipe. In fact, there's not even enough bandwidth in the local loop to handle everyone's needs. Unless you buy Optimum Online Boost or the Super tier, which gives you more frequencies that your modem will use, and that clears up a lot of stuff. But basically, the funny thing is, this does not establish any new laws or regulations. This is entirely voluntary, which means, of course, that you don't get to decide if this happens or not. This is going to just happen to you, because every single major ISP is on this. Even Cablevision, Verizon, which is both ISPs on this whole damn island. So that means I have the only choice now is to see if it's even possible to buy a freaking T1 on a residential plot, and maybe see if I can get 5 of my neighbors to agree to license to share that with moi. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo was involved in this. You know what? Fuck your gay marriage! I want my damn internet! Of course, I'm not actually that stupid, but I figured it'd be fun to do that for comedy. But basically, yeah, sorry if you're gay. I'm not trying to offend you. I just really hate when they do this crap of do one major victory for civil rights and then completely destroy some other big civil rights thing, like the internet. Basically, I'll get to the point, because this thing will only record 15 minutes at a time, and video editing on Linux is a total pain. Basically, this is a way for ISPs to throw off all the people that actually use their connection, because they're bad customers. Well, they're good customers, so you're paying, but to the ISP's point of view, they're bad customers because they're actually using the product that they're getting, and their business model is entirely predicated on people not using the product that they're getting. So basically, this whole framework exists. Well, the reason why the ISPs are going along with this, it's a way to threaten users into stop using their service, and to kick heavy file sharers off their service. The problem is, there's not really any indication of how this is going to be determined if you're file sharing or not. And in fact, in all honesty, they say, scroll down. There's another part where they say people who think they're treated unfairly can request an independent review, but it will cost them $35. So basically, the ISPs will now have this excuse by which they can throttle users through a supposed front of, well, we're just going to throttle the bad users. And this has been a big threat is in a lot of the net neutrality agreements. They explicitly excluded illegal activities, which means that they're going to have a certain subset of legal things that will be protected, and that you will be able to access your Netflix, your Google, but you're not going to be able to access your peer-to-peer services because those use too much bandwidth and they can be used for illegal things. So we're going to throttle them. Another interesting thing is basically if you do have an open network, they will say, okay, you have an open network, we'll forgive you once. Their expectation is that you'll close that network. So if you are, say, a cafe that's offering open Wi-Fi, their intention is to shut you down because open Wi-Fi is a serious nut in their plans. Basically, a serious wrench in their plans. Because their plan is to be able to identify people who are stealing content by their IP address. That's always been because they assume, oh, well, the IP address is assigned by the ISP, and therefore the ISP knows which IP they assign to which router, and therefore they can determine who's sharing on what IP address. Having an open Wi-Fi network means that there's a second layer of IP address assignment, and therefore the ISP level IP assignments are invalid, and they don't want that. So their new rule is no open Wi-Fi. Done. Can't do it. Yeah, we're gonna run IP addresses as if they were license plates, and we're gonna require everyone to have law enforcement identifiable information which can track their activities back to them. Now, of course, I'm using the word legal, not in a sense of an actual definition, but just the word they're saying. Because who defines what's legal anyway? Because, like I said, yeah, you'll be able to access your Google and your Netflixes, but let's say you have a small startup that's doing some nice stuff with, say, storing content or something. Like, say, if you have a bunch of pictures or music or something, and you put this on a cloud drive. I don't like the term cloud. And basically, the idea is, what if their service is using too much bandwidth? The ISPs might just say, file a little copyright complaint here, and harass everyone who's using that service. Because that's really what the point is. It's to harass people who are using services that are not 100% approved by the music industry, or not 100% approved by the internet service providers. For example, again, your Googles and your Netflixes, they will most likely have to tone down their bandwidth usage because the ISPs, again, demand that their business model of overselling cheap connections and then freaking out when people actually use them and calling it abuse. Their business model is predicated on kicking customers that use their services too much to the curb. And this would be this would normally be, oh well, it's a free market, I just switched into another ISP. How can I switch to another ISP? There's only two on Long Island, and the only two you can't really set up a third one. Good luck getting the infrastructure for that. In fact, I'd be more receptive to these net neutrality proposals if they had provisions for setting up to make it easier to set up competing ISPs, but that will never happen because they will never engage in local loop unbundling. Because that would piss off all the ISPs, because then they wouldn't be able to charge extra profits. They'd have to invest in their network, which is not what they're doing. They're investing in their marketing.